Okay, guys, sorry if you have not heard me. I literally lost my window and I was looking for it. So, hello, welcome. It is Wednesday, January 20th, 20 days into 2022. And I don't know about you, but I feel exhausted. I feel nauseous too, so I apologize if I wrap up this stream a bit early because I'm having migraines off and on. I'm wondering if I'm a little deficient somewhere. I started a trend of going vegan. I'm not vegan right now, though. I'm more vegetarian since I was pescatarian, because with the long hours I'm working in this cold winter, it's been hard on my body and mind for sure. So, welcome everyone into the chat. I'm going to go ahead and address the comments from yesterday's video, and as always, it's a Q&A session. A lot has happened in these recent days. You know, we live in a crazy world. Nothing's a surprise anymore. You got super volcanoes blowing up in the ocean. You have tsunami warnings. Inflation's high. Mask, no mask. Vaccines. Things are flying off the shelves. It's like the stuff of movies these days. Let me go ahead and jump over to the comments while I wait for people to trickle in. All right, let's see. Let me jump back in the chat to see if anyone else came in. Hey, Evenly Match 40. He said me and my ears made it a little. Oh, nice to hear that your ears are doing okay. I know that I talked to you off the stream and you were concerned about your hearing. I'm glad your hearing is doing okay. Let me go ahead and jump into the comment section. For some reason, I've noticed on some videos it hides comments, and I'm not sure why it's hiding people's comments. I have no control over why it's hiding some, but I see Terry Jackson said, the government is collecting names of people who refuse the vaccine because of religious reasons. If you're a veteran, the VA got your name already. Probably going to round people up and put them in FEMA camps. It's getting bad. Stay prayed up. And I see what Terry's saying. I mean, at this point, they can do that because contact tracing, I mean, that's what it's code for, is tracing anyone who has had COVID. But even I would say that they probably are watching people who don't have the vaccine, especially since it's growing and growing, that it would become endemic if more and more people would just take the jab. Texture 6 said if you put this information in a timeline, you can see that things were intentionally changed to fit the narrative. The vaccine rollout December 18th of 2020, breakthrough cases April 20th of 21, the CDC stopped counting and tracking breakthrough cases in May of 2021, phase out the PCR test announced July 2021, then the change in the definition of a vaccine in August, September of 2021, pushing the booster in the fall, December 2021, phase out the PCR test. This is all one big control scandemic. And I will say the narrative has changed so many times, from masks keep you safe no matter if it's cloth or it's surgical or it's an N95. Then it was, no, they're all ineffective but the N95. Then it was, you don't have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated. Then it was, actually you need to wear a mask. Then it was, stay 6 feet apart and social distance. Then it was, you can't have gatherings of this amount of people. Then it was, okay, you can go in and eat at a restaurant and take off your mask and you somehow won't get it, but you have to put it back on as soon as you go anywhere else. Then it's been changing from, you know, you need 1 dose to 2 dose to 3 doses because of the booster, and now they're talking about a 4th dose, and it just is never ending. So I definitely get what Texture 6 was saying there. Mr. Big Deal said food prices going way up. It's getting ridiculous. It really is. Like right now I'm glad that I'm not really eating much meat, but I will say my body's kind of feeling it. I don't know, in past times I never felt it, but I've been, like I said, battling vitamin D deficiency, and it probably wasn't the best idea to stop eating meat. I've kind of started to eat like fish again, like salmon, getting my vitamin D up, because not having milk and animal products, like I don't really overlove cheese and dairy and eggs. I mean, some meat is good, but lately I've just been, I don't know. I don't feel very good. I don't know. I talked about food and I got nauseous. Zavon T said, things are getting worse and worse at ever increasing rapid speed. At the very least, I think we're watching the fall of this nation, but I believe bigger things are happening. And I 100% wholeheartedly agree with Savon with that comment. Perpetuant said good night, everyone. Hello, Perpetuant. Good to see you in the chat. We need someone to secretly come up with a true vaccine. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where everybody's been the guinea pig, and sorry guys about that. I'm getting called in the middle of the street. This is why I guess I forget. Give me a second. It's actually my dad, but I'll call him back. He doesn't know I'm streaming. Sorry about that, guys, who are listening and anyone playing this back. My dad called, and I will have to tell him real quick that I'm going to call him back. Today's been crazy. Like, I don't know about you, but just a second. And I'm getting another call. Let me just go to the app. A little string as yes, I feel this time it's not my dad. This is why you leave your phone on silent, because if you don't, you're gonna get called constantly about little things. I'm trying to go to where I can see messages. Yeah, it's a delivery I had, and they were just probably calling me to let me know they were nearby. I did tell my family to get the door. I don't think I've had this much calls and doorbell ringings in one stream in a while. See, Evenly Match said, it's like the people are calling in to talk on the stream, right? Except they're not calling us. It would be interesting if we had someone randomly delivering and my dad call in and they gave their opinion on the pandemic and everything, which my dad pretty much just goes along with whatever they're saying, so I don't think there'd be much to it. But I will say, though, I heard somewhere that Biden's ratings are going down, which I already knew they were low, but it's because he keeps flip-flopping on everything he says. Like, he said he was going to reduce the numbers, and the numbers weren't reduced. And yeah, it's been messy. This whole 20s decade has been messy. And honestly, at this point, I saw something on TikTok actually talking about the great resignation and so many people, like so many businesses being understaffed and people are doing multiple roles but only getting paid for one of those roles. And I sort of feel like that currently in my workplace in terms of they're having us do busy work that's really the role of somebody else. And it's like, I'm not getting paid extra for this, so why am I expected to do it? And it just feels like, everything is a dumpster fire and it's falling apart slowly. And like I said, I think we're going to see more changes and shifts with everything happening. Evenly matched voice, I heard like 33% approval. It might have gone down since. Wow, I didn't even hear it was that low, but then the source was questionable. They tried to say it was 49. I was like, there's no way it's 49. 33% sounds about right or even lower. Because, I mean, I know people who voted for him, but I don't know anyone who's standing for him that crazy. And I'm sorry, but after Kabul and after this whole pandemic and the way it's been handled, I don't see how anyone is going to. But, there's always those people out there that will. So, thinking about what happened in Tonga as well, with the underwater volcano and the tsunami warning, I do think we're going to see more and more of these natural occurring disasters. And it's going to be more and more intense. And it makes me wonder what it's going to be like as we approach the end. But I think about when you read the book of Revelation, it talks about the earth being moved from its foundations and earthquaking like woman in travail, and it talks about mountains melting. Doesn't that sound like volcanoes and earthquakes to you? To me, it sounds like it. And so it's no surprise the times that we're in. Even Jesus said in Matthew 24 that there would be earthquakes in diverse places. When I was in the cult Shincheonji, they try to say it was metaphoric for, I forgot what they try to say an earthquake was, but it wasn't literal, and we weren't going to see all these actual physical events. And some of the revelation is definitely metaphoric, but I do believe that we're going to see physical manifestations of this sort of thing. And so it's no surprise that we have volcanoes going on. Even though a volcano in the ocean doesn't sound like a big threat, it is a big threat in terms of threatening islands and threatening our coastal cities. I mean, people could feel the shaking, like the boom, all the way in San Francisco and Ventura, California. And I know those are far apart. The Ventura is more toward the LA area, about a hour or two north of LA. And, San Francisco is like 6 hours north of LA, but still, it just, Tonga's far, far away. You're talking like near Samoa kind of far. It takes about like 7, 8, sometimes between like 5 and 8 hours to fly from California to Hawaii. So you're talking massive waves. Like they said that the amount of water that shot up was the distance between Baltimore, I believe, and I want to say like the top of Maine. I can't remember. I heard it. Perpetuant said, "Oh, is that a reason? I thought it was because you all finally realized he was going senile." I mean, yeah, that too. I mean, I could see it from a mile away, but a lot of people are it's like crazy. Did you guys ever see the clip where he's like, "Where's mom?" And he was asking about his mom, and they literally told him, like, they didn't even address that. But yeah, he's been doing weird things for a long time. Hey, Robert Moya, how are you? Robert Moya said 2 major fault lines. Yeah, the major fault lines you're talking about, since I was talking about California, talking about like San Andreas and the Cascadia fault line on the West Coast. Because those, I mean, even if Cascadia, which is more in the Washington State, Oregon area, were to go off, that would totally devastate so many cities along the Pacific Northwest. Alaska is a hot zone of earthquakes because when you live on that land out west, it's volcanoes and earthquakes that you're dealing with. I mean, you can have an earthquake technically on the East Coast as well, and you can have one here in Missouri because we have the New Madrid fault line in the boot of Missouri, cuts through like Tennessee and Kentucky, and it was so powerful in 1812 it shook church bells and reversed the flow of the Mississippi for a temporary point in time. But yeah, we're gonna see more and more of this. And I remember when the whole not blood moon, but the solar eclipse happened on August 21st of 2017, I believe. I feel like a lot shifted since then, and I remember hearing that the next one it's going to cross the United States, but it's going to go the opposite way, like an X, and it's going to be in 2024, and lo and behold, we're 2 years removed from it. So, again, not to get caught up too much in celestial signs, but I am someone who believes that God does speak through the sun, the moon, the stars, and I'm not saying you should use it to try to figure out what you should wear in a horoscope, but I definitely would say pay attention to these eclipses, blood moons, and I do think there is something to the way the planets are moving and everything else. So, yeah, the moon affects the tides of the ocean, and so I just wonder too with this volcanic eruption what that did to the world. Because to be honest with you, even though it was big news, it was also not very much talked about. People are probably talking more about COVID than this. Perpetuant said, "There are reasons among some that believe some of these natural disasters aren't so natural but man-made." And I see what you're saying. I do think they have the technology like HARP, and, they have the ability to create microwaves to burn things. But then I also believe, even if that's so, God is allowing this to happen. And it just was predicted in the word that we were going to have crazy weather in these last days. I remember when I used to work in emergency management, how they said how before the year 2017, which 2017, as I mentioned, was the same year that the whole solar eclipse happened, that they never would have thought that it would be possible for the West Coast to burn while they had like major hurricanes back to back hitting the East Coast. And now it's become normal. This abnormal weather is the new normal, and it's only going to get worse. So, definitely a lot happening. And we're just in perilous times. And inflation. Inflation's crazy. I just want to say that. Like, people are talking about raising the minimum wage, but yet the minimum wage, I mean, it's going to cause everything else to go up, and we're seeing everything go up. It's like to eat ground beef is way more expensive. And I honestly think there's a conspiracy to turn everyone into a vegan or vegetarian. I mean, again, not knocking it. If you want to willingly do it, like I'm sort of willingly doing it somewhat. But like, I don't think people should be forced not to eat meat because they can't afford it. That seems cruel. But the thing that makes me really think it's a conspiracy is the fact that meat prices are going up. All of these fast food chains are making all this fake meat. I just gotta say, 90% of fake meat I've tried is really gross. There's a couple that are edible, but I still get a little weirded out by the idea that it's not actually real meat. And yeah, and then Bill Gates, I think he had his hand in trying to make fake meat as well. And you already know how we all feel about Bill Gates and everything he does and says. And he wasn't tied to that exercise they did over a mass pandemic in 2019 in November. So yeah, I mean we all know how that goes, but definitely, I know when I was working in emergency management, I got to help work a little bit with the Small Business Administration, and there were some people that called in who were farmers or who own livestock, and they were saying how all of these animals were going to waste because of this whole COVID situation. And because of it, like, they were losing money, they were going to have to put down some of their animals, and that was perfectly good meat going to waste. So that also kind of helped cause a shortage of meat. So there's definitely some kind of agenda there. I see Evenly Matched 40 said, I've been seeing that conspiracy theory float around here and there. The fake meat thing and trying to turn us all to plant-based eaters. Perpetuan said, why the fake meat? Are you asking me, like, why I bought fake meat or why I think it's going to be fake meat, Perpetuan? Just to clarify. I've tried fake meat before because, as someone who, again, off and on, sometimes plant-based eating, I wanted to see what it tastes like, but honestly, I don't like the taste of 90% of fake meat, and it just creeps me out that it's not real meat. It doesn't have the same nutritional value of eating protein, and when you think about how high in sodium some of it is, that in itself is disturbing. I think, the more natural, the better, and that's why it's scary, because even our fruits and vegetables, there's GMOs in that, and it's like, I saw this literal TikTok video before I got on. Is this guy saying he doesn't know what to eat. Like, everybody says, oh, you need to eat more plants, but yet if you're not getting meat, you can lose out on vitamins, and then you eat too much meat, you need the plants, but a lot of our plants are tainted, and it's just very hard to know what to eat. And I agree, the more natural, the more whole foods, the better. But not everyone has access to organic whole foods, and it'd be nice if we all just had our own gardens and did our own thing, knowing it wasn't tainted, but it's unfortunately not the world we're in. And then Professor said, but why are they trying to push fake meats? Oh, why? I think it's simply I think part of it is just to be controlling. I think it's also to cause people to be deficient in some areas. And it's to hoard maybe more meat to themselves. I don't know. Like, I don't, I, you asked me a good question, but it just seems weird. Like McDonald's made the McPlant burger in the UK. KFC made the Beyond Chicken Nuggets. Subway launched some Beyond type of chicken meat and some other kind of meat in Subway sandwiches over in the UK. Burger King has the Impossible Whopper. So a lot of these major food chains that haven't really cared much about health are suddenly like, we want to give you vegan options. Perpetuan said, what is tofu? Never tried it. I ain't gonna lie, I don't like tofu. When I lived in Saipan, being vegan is very hard, but so I was a vegetarian. And whenever I told them I wanted to have vegetable fried rice, they're going to put eggs in it and everything, they automatically wanted to add tofu to always, because I didn't eat meat, so they automatically said, oh, we're going to give you tofu as a substitute. I hated eating tofu. I would rather just eat a plate of vegetables and leaves than eat tofu. I do not like tofu. I mean, I've tried to cook tofu and season it right, but I don't like tofu. It just feels very weird and unnatural for me. But some people love tofu, but to me, I'm just like, no, I'd rather be a raw vegan than eat tofu. Hi, Intuitive Observer, how are you doing? And then with supply chain shortage, that's right. That was the other part of the video. We're running low on supplies, right? Because everybody wants the same things. And on top of it, the COVID thing in Asia doesn't make it better, right? But I think, again, it's intentional to kind of keep things short stocked, because it actually drives up the value of certain items. Like, if less people have access to them, it's like the meat thing. If meat is scarce, then they can charge you like $50 for a package of ground beef. But if it's readily available, and it can be under the disguise of we're saving the planet because we're cutting down less trees, because apparently whenever they clear forests, they use it so people can raise more cattle. And then, of course, because they're cutting down more trees, that's hurting our environment. And, animals aren't killed because animal cruelty is wrong, right? And the way animals are killed when in the meat industry is quite brutal. So why not do something ethical, like make a bunch of fake meat that tastes sort of like beef? And then if you want to eat beef, you're penalized because it costs $50 or something like that. Like, you pay steak prices for meat that's not steak quality. So there's that too. Intuitive Observer put tofu in the vomiting face. I'm sure someone out there loves it. It's their thing, but to me, it's not. It's not where it's at all. I really tried to embrace at one point everything from tofu to all these other dishes, like making cauliflower, because some people make like wings out of cauliflower. And in some ways, like I said, I like eating certain things, other things I don't like eating. And Perpetuan said, can you talk on the live streams? What do you mean by can you talk on the live streams? Is there a particular topic you want me to talk about, Perpetuan? Or are you having trouble hearing me? Intuitive Observer said, if you are vegan, eat veggies, not the GMO, carcinogenic, synthetic. Exactly, that's how I feel too. Like, I feel like every time I say I'm vegan or vegetarian, which I admit I'm sometimes a crappy one, and I have to be, like I said, more of a pescatarian, I think it's the best way to go is just to eat plants. So vegetables, fruits, nuts, the things that are natural. Because I've heard some people who have tried eating plant-based, and usually it's people that want to like lose weight or something, and they say, I gained like 30 pounds while being vegan. But a lot of times it's because people are trying to eat like fake chicken nuggets. Like, chicken nuggets, even regular meat, aren't good for you. They're highly processed. Anything highly processed is bad for you. Just like anything high in refined sugar isn't good for you. That's why there's fruits where you can get natural sugars. So it's not really it's more so don't eat fake anything. Intuitive said beef tomatoes are beefy. Evenly matched for you said I had tofu once, but I forgot if I liked it. Well, I mean, if you don't remember disliking it, maybe it wasn't so bad. And I think some people know how to cook food better than others, so who knows? Robert Moyes said, so only the 1% can eat Soylent Green, lol. Right? Soylent Green, that's right. That was the name of the meat that Bill Gates was coming out with, I think, right? No, yeah. Are you talking about? Because I remember there was a Soylent brand of fake meat. Intuitive Source said, I saw a recipe for alternative to buffalo wings made of Brussels sprouts. WTF. Yeah, I mean, that's how you do it in the plant based community. You basically season up vegetables. I will say this, though, because I love tacos. And I found that seasoning poblano peppers pretty well is a good substitute with black beans for eating meat. But admittedly, I still think you need some kind of you need a lot of supplements, I feel like, to substitute. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's the other downside is supplements. And like I like taking well actually it can get tiring taking supplements because sometimes you forget a day of it and no one wants to feel crummy because they didn't take their vitamin D vitamins. And Perpetuan said no, instead of texting is there a way to send voice message? I don't know. That would actually be cool. I would be open to it. I know if I ran this off of a different platform, let me see something. Because I know some people manage to call into people's live streams and all of that. That would probably be the closest thing to what you're talking about, Perpetuant. I don't know how an OBS studio to do that. And I'm not sure on the YouTube platform how to do it. I wouldn't mind receiving a voice message from any of you on the live stream or even having someone who wants to talk back be interviewed. It's just, once they got rid of Google Hangouts, I just totally felt like I'd started talking at everyone, which I don't mind, but I do miss the days sometimes of having someone on who wanted to actually have a two-way discussion. That is something I'll probably have to look more into on a future stream. Tom Jakowanski and Hello Tom said, then there's stinky tofu that they let rot in garbage juice. Yummy. Oh god, you're making me so sick right now. I don't like tofu and then imagining stinky tofu is just, you know, anything can go bad. I'll say that, but that's just gross. Intuitive Observer said, I think vegan meat is designed for genocide. You know, I do think there's something wrong. Like, and I heard the Impossible Whopper, which I know Burger King in itself, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I feel like a lot of meat at most fast food joints isn't real meat anyways. It's probably already impossible meat at half of these joints because there's no way some of the, like, for instance, how is some of these chicken sandwiches chicken so big? Like, think about all the antibiotics they pumped into it. Like, at that point, is it even really meat at that point? Perpetuan said, saw Chef Gordon showing how to make cauliflower steak. Huh? Now I want to look into this. I remember I had a sociology professor, and I studied sociology, and a lot of people love-hate relationship with it. And he said how, like, if we could design fake meat that had the texture of meat, really, people don't eat meat for the taste, they eat it for the texture. And I thought to myself, speak for yourself. It depends. Like, one reason I chose to eat plant-based in 2020 is because I was away from home and I didn't really have access to cook. And the few times I would have people cook for me sometimes, I don't know. It's like when you eat meat that doesn't really have much flavor or it's just not flavors you like, it just starts to feel like empty calories for nothing. So that's sort of why I experimented in the plant-based life. But, you know, so if, you know, meat to you is like rubbery and it barely tastes like anything, then yeah, maybe fake meat would do you well, but I don't think nutritionally it's good for you. That Now I'm curious, Perpetuant cauliflower steak. Robert Moyes said Soylent Green was dystopian movie about synthetic food. Oh, okay. I mean, synthetic food is a nightmare. Intuitive Observer said, I know vegans die of cancer and leukemia. Wow. That's sad. Anyone dying of cancer or leukemia. I mean, in the end, Carcinogenics are in so many things. And it's not just animal products. Tom Jakowski said Silent Green is people basically recycled humans. Oh my god. I think I remember somebody having a video about how someone joked about making meat that tasted like humans, and I was like, how would you know that? Like, idea of eating something that tastes like it's cannibal is gross. Tutor Observer said, thanks for reminding me to take my vitamin D3 and K2 supplement. Right? I've been behind on taking mine, and I really need to take it because it's winter time here, and I get up at 4, and so the only sun I really get is after work. And it's too cold to be outside right now, and then I'm not eating a lot of meat, so it's kind of like the supplements is where it's at. And Tudozer said they put human meat in fast food burgers. Oh god. Check Rabbi Finkelstein interview. It's just disturbing. Cannibalism's disturbing. I know people who said they would eat people if no one was, like, if they were out of food, and I'm like, I'm staying far away from you. Like, if you admit to that, I know if there's ever, like, a starvation situation, they're gonna be the first zombies. Because all a zombie is it's the evil undead, but really, they're cannibals, because, I mean, they were people once, and they're eating other people, so it's just, like, really, like, gross to think about. Tom Jakowski, there's an Israeli company that's printing up 3D printed meat that sounds super tasty. I think I heard of that, Tom, and that's like what the heck are people doing with 3D printers and they're gonna have 3D printed meat? It's like goes to show though that some people will eat anything, like anything. Like it's not even about taste. It's about the idea. Like, food was meant to nourish, not to be some weird synthetic lab made thing, whether it's fake vegetables or fake meat. Evenly matched 40 said, oh god, right? Stuff of nightmares, Franken meat, Franken food. Because Frankenstein is pretty much, I'm thinking of my senior English lit class I had of high school. Frankenstein was pretty much a bunch of dead people sewn together, and then Victor Frankenstein used lightning to bring this monster made of dead people's body parts to life. And so fake meat is just like Frankenstein. That's so gross. And Tudo's ever said they make steaks out of poop. Frankenstein meat, I think. Frankenstein meat, I think I will become a breatharian. Oh my god. Right? Just eat air. That's all you need is air. Oh my god, I feel like traumatized now. It's disgusting. You know, the thing about what you guys are saying is that someone has to imagine this. Like, think how sick you have to be to think, I think poop would be a good idea for fake meat. I think that I want meat that tastes like human flesh. Like, something's very off in someone's head. Like, the level of mental health issues that someone have to think of this stuff is disgusting. Intuitive observers emojis to puke face in the light. Photosynthesis. Right? We're plants now. Just get our sunlight. Which some of us can't get enough sunlight in the winter. And for those who live in like Florida or Hawaii where it's sunny year round and warm, or California, I guess, because California stays actually pretty sunny, even though I've been there when it rained, but it's not. Problem is it gets dry and then it starts to burn. Or some may say they start setting things on fire intentionally. Either way, it would be nice to be able to just breathe and get the sun and not have to think about starving or being hungry. Think how much more productive people would be if we didn't have to eat, but God made us so we'd eat food. But the fact that people are polluting food, it kind of reminds me now of the days of Noah, because I think about how, well, I mean, at least in the book of Jasher, I think it is, because, you know, there's the book of Enoch, it talked about how they, or maybe it's the book of Jubilees, it talks about the fallen angels basically perverted everything, even including food, like plants. So they were probably making a bunch of GMO type of foods. And then just think if animals are being bred together. I mean, would you eat a chimera's meat? That doesn't seem very sanitary. Intuitive said it's for the tears, all the fast food. Right? It's very definitely in a the separation is happening. And I honestly find too, because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I can be a little, especially when I get tired, everything. Like, I can eat a little bit of fast food here and there, but I notice my body's starting to really, not that I ever like loved it, but it's starting to really reject a lot of things it used to like. That's kind of why, another reason why I did try to be more plant-based is because I wasn't processing dairy as well anymore, or eggs. And so I was like, well, what would happen if I cut it out? I do find it does help a lot with keeping my skin clear and everything like that. But yeah, I find it too, as time goes by, like it could be age, but I also think it could be spiritual. Our bodies reject the fake food. Like, I think someone's body would reject this fake processed synthetic food as well, especially if they're spiritually heightened. Intuitive Earth, I eat once a day now. I hope that the food shortage happens. I won't be bothered. Good for you. So I know you eat once a day, so it may not be like intermittent fasting the same way, but I notice more and more people are intermittent fasting and they're going longer and longer periods without eating. And I find that fascinating. It's becoming more and more common. But yeah, being able to eat once a day is good. Especially if you get a really good whole meal. One good meal in a day is better than a bunch of crappy, non-nutritional, bad for you meals. Tito's said I had a Subway sandwich recently. It was nice, Italian BMT with a glass of red wine. Oh, nice. Evenly matched 40 said my food schedule's all over the place, right? I feel like too it's just the way work goes too for me. Like, I'm teaching classes right now, and they honestly schedule our classes for 2 hours. They end up taking 5 or 7 hours for some people because of all the tech issues, because it's virtual. And it's like sometimes lunch is at 11, sometimes lunch is at 2, and then you don't have energy to go anywhere. And then I get home and I'm wiped, and then I still want to go to the gym. So, I think time is definitely something that we all value and helps us make better decisions. But sometimes we have to just take the lead. Like, I'm going to make time to cook. I'm going to make time to meal prep. And I think that helps a lot of people make better eating choices as well. Tom says they're actually trying to kill us off while making money off us at every step to the grave. Come, Lord Jesus, I'm so tired. I feel you on that, Tom. Everything costs these days, for sure. But yet, things are making people sicker. It's like the whole cavity thing. It's like, why were they putting metals in people's mouth that aren't healthy for them? Like mercury and all of that. I mean, now they've changed it again, but it's like stuff like that they know isn't going to last forever. Intuitive Desert, don't really get proper hungry anymore. Oh, nice. I really love your, like, ability not to be hungry anymore. Evenly matched said, like, I'll eat once a day like Intuitive Observer does, or sometimes I'll eat 7 times a day. Whoa, evenly matched. You have a very, like, it's very fluid for you how you can go from, like, once a day to 7 times a day. Hello, Edward the Christian. How are you? And Edward said, I just had a huge salad and steak. I only eat once a day, but big. And I see that too, Again, I think, like, it's all about the quality too. Like, if you're getting good, like, a one good meal to me is worth a whole eating 3 times a day, or eating 5 small meals. Like, some people eat very small portions and they spread it out. And Chudo's said, we are not victims, we are conquerors. Fast and pray. I'm 45 years old. And I would agree with you on that. definitely about being conquerors, and fasting and praying is so important. That's awesome, intuitive observer. And I think so much of, because I know we've been talking about food a lot, so much of our journey is spiritual and it's mental. And I think the step to shifting anything is, first getting it down mentally and spiritually, then to shift your physical reality in terms of even things like hunger, or even if you're just trying to make better eating choices as well, it starts in the mind. That's why so many people, even who try to go on a journey to be healthier, even if it's not food, like exercise, they have to really motivate themselves and make it a pattern. Or else people will yo-yo and they'll be off and on and inconsistent, and no one likes inconsistencies, that's for sure. Into Azura said, if I take a lot of sugar treats, then I'm mega hungry next day. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, sugar is made to make you want to eat more of it. And that's why, like, when you stop eating sugar, to think about it, because, like, I've gone periods where I didn't eat sugar for, like, a month or a few weeks. And when I did, and I finally lost, like, the sugar craving, I did notice my appetite and hunger went way down. But as soon as I eat like a candy bar or something, suddenly it's like I need to eat a whole bag of candy bars, because it's like the sugar makes you hungrier. And I've noticed that with unhealthy food like chips, or because it has all that sodium, but even like, obviously these sugary drinks, beverages, it'll make you hungrier even though it's empty calories and it's not good for you. And Tudo said, don't tell my age, it's a secret. I definitely won't tell your age that you put in the chat, Intuitive Observer. We keep secrets here. I didn't realize we're already at 8:46. I think in another 4 minutes, I'll say the prayer for the night. If anyone has any prayer requests, let me know, and I can definitely pray on it for you. Tudo Observer said it's time to stock food. Be a squirrel, keep nuts. Right? Hoard those nuts. And I think more and more people, storing food is important. I just imagine for how it's gonna happen when there's a food shortage that can't be like done away with fast food. What will people do? I really think that's when we're gonna see zombies. And to me, a zombie isn't a little supernatural entity. It's people who lose their mind over not having food, not having, maybe the Wi-Fi's cut off, and maybe they start acting like a cannibal or just super violent. To me, that's a zombie. Or people who are strung out on drugs terrorizing other people, that's a zombie. not like I said, not the evil undead that's reanimated and brought back to life. It makes for good entertainment, but a real zombie is not a good thing. And unfortunately, they've worked to try to turn a lot of people into zombies. And I think that's why Intuitive Observer said, I'm going to work trial tomorrow. I'll be dealing with mutants, doing their hair. Pray for me. Definitely will pray for you. You said dealing with mutants doing their hair. Alright, I'll pray on that for you, Intuitive Observer. We're definitely in some interesting times, and I think too the thing that's evident too is I know like a lot of more people are dealing with mental illness than ever. And I think too that in itself is going to create a lot of problems if, again, if there's a EMP, or there's massive power outages, or like I said, the internet's cut off, or people can't get their food anymore. It's going to create a lot of stuff that may not have been there. All right, one more minute, and I think I'm going to go ahead and start saying the prayer. Intuitive Observer said, I see the zombieism come and go. I think they turn the G5 frequency up and down at this time until they crank it up right up. Right? And speaking of 5G, I heard that it's going to interfere with a lot of flights. A lot of people I work with are from out of town, and they go home every weekend because the project we're doing, it's based in Kansas City where I live, but they go home because they want to see their families since they're away from them until like March or April. And I heard a lot of these airports are going to shut down because of the 5G, and it just makes me think if like the 5G is bad enough to cause planes to maybe go down or not be able to make it to their route safely, what is it doing to people health-wise? Then you get into energy fields and electromagnetic auras and all that. It's just like this world is getting more and more. It's even more reason why we need to stay prayed up and stay alert and sober minded. Edward said, please pray for the innocent and the needy. God bless you. Always says no worries. Yahweh will, or Jehovah will bless the Zadok forever. Amen. Intuitive Observer said pilots are dying. You'll have to let me know more about that. You can put it in the chat while I pray, but that has some sad stuff about the pilots dying. Oh, that's why the flights are being canceled. And they've been blaming a lot of this stuff on COVID, but why do you think the pilots are dying? Like the reason behind it, Intuitive Observer. We go ahead and start the prayer. Father, thank you for the ability for us to come together in fellowship every Thursday night. I just pray that everyone listening to this stream, whether live or in the playback, you'd continue to guide them and direct their steps and order them. I pray for anyone who's dealing with any sickness, any financial problems, any interpersonal relationship issues. I just ask you to heal them, the top of the head to their soles of their feet. And I also just pray for Intuitive Observer who is going to be doing mutant heresy for the work trial as well. And then also I just pray for the innocent, the needy, that God would bless them and just help anyone who's going through abuse and just continue to show us how to help others and to grow closer to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And Intuitive Source said stuff on BitChute. Got you. Yeah, BitChute has a lot more information that's not censored. I can look it up later. It just seems like, I know I said this at the end of last time's stream about a deep sadness I got from time to time. I didn't know why. And it was probably for the things that are happening in this world. But I think too, more and more of us will be more sensitive to the shifts happening in the spirit as well. But I also believe as big of a deal as it is for the bad stuff that's happening, God is also moving. And Jesus is also coming soon, so it's really nothing to be worried about, even if a lot of craziness is ensuing at the same time. And all tutors are said a same cry once a month. Yeah, you can really feel the things. And I think when you're really in tune, because the world's made to make us be distracted and not plugged into others and just self-centered, But when we stop to go outside of ourselves, we can sense the darkness and the way that other people are being victimized, or just how lost others are. And our spirit, in a way, cries out to God for that change. And I see it where the Christian said, empathy for others. Exactly, it's empathy. Real empathy. A lot of people call themselves empaths. Don't have anything against the word, but it's true compassion. Intuitive observer said, death is a victory for a true believer. I would agree, especially when the person goes, when it's their time to go, and because they get to be with Jesus. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, I believe, and wrap it up a little bit earlier, 5 minutes till, just because I don't know why, but I'm having a little bit of a headache / migraine trying to come on again. And it was a pleasure talking to everyone tonight. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. It's always a blast, no matter who's in the chat. And like I said, I enjoy seeing you all back, and I'll catch up with you guys again next Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I like what Intuitive Observer said, listen to some good gospel music in headphones when out and about. So I agree with you on that, Intuitive Observer. And Edward Christian said, yes, even Paul said to die is to gain. Exactly. And thank you for the bear, evenly matched. Oh, hello, True Seeker MD. You're coming right at the end when I'm signing off, but it's good to see you. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. And everyone, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and rest of your night. Take care. God bless.